So my speech is going to be about global warming. So whether you believe it is happening or not, it has become a controversial topic that has been discussed worldwide. Many human beings believe that global temperatures will reverse itself and the Earth will go back to being the way it was almost 100,000 years ago. However, that's not the case. Global warming is the #1 leading cause of destruction on the Earth. Before I continue on with my speech, I just want to clarify some things. Some of you are probably wondering, what is global warming? Global warming is the increase in the Earth's average temperature. You're probably also wondering, what is the difference between global warming and climate change? Well, global warming just focuses primarily on Earth's average temperature, while climate change refers not only to global changes in temperature, but change in wind, precipitation, the length of winds, as well as the strength and frequency of extreme weather, like droughts and floods. What is anthropogenic global warming? It is the production of greenhouse gases that are emitted by human activity. And you're probably asking, what are greenhouse gases? They're the air and the gases that get trapped by the atmosphere that heat up the planet, or the atmosphere. Synergism. It is the interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations that rely on one another to produce something greater than if they were separate. Polymer. What is polymer? It's a synthetic organic material used as plastic or as like the stuff you have, like your plastic bags and stuff. So global warming is the exclusive result of human activities. Human beings tend to overlook the idea of polluting the earth when they purchase things from big companies for really low prices, or by leaving their trash on the streets and overusing plastic items such as plastic bags and stuff like that. Although we have been decreasing our use in polymers, there are many still waiting to decompose in our landfills. In an article written based on the book Ecosystems by Anthony Gorison, it states that temperature and water availability are important drivers for ecosystem processes such as photosynthesis, carbon translocation, and organic matter decomposition. These climate changes may affect the supply of carbon and energy to the soil, microbial population, and subsequently alter decomposition and mineralization, important ecosystem processes in carbon and nutrient cycling. So, due to global warming, this is making it hard for us to decompose most of our plastics in our landfills, making it extremely difficult for our Earth to get rid of all these toxic waste and our toxic gases. Since industries such as the oil industries and many other industries like that produce stuff for us, like canned foods, they're dumping their waste in our oceans and our rivers, contaminating them, making it harder for us to use it. So global warming also has a negative effect on the planet and its inhabitants. According to an article written by Terry L. Root, who's a professor at Stanford University, it states that synergism of rapid temperature rise and other stresses, in particular habitat destruction, could easily disrupt the connectedness among species and lead to a reformulation, or in other words, to alter, of species communities, reflecting differential changes in species and to numerous extirpations and possibly extinctions. So for an example, phytoplankton. Phytoplankton is extremely important in our food chain. They're what fishes eat and we eat fishes. So if phytoplankton go extinct, we're gonna go extinct. Another thing, if the wildlife on Earth were to become extinct, we won't have nothing to feed off of it. So it will make it harder for us to continue to live. Also, there are increasing droughts that have been studied through observations and models. In an article written by Agol Dai, it states global aridity changes up to 2010 are consistent with model predictions, which suggest severe and widespread droughts in the next 30 to 90 years over many land areas, resulting from either decreased precipitation and or increased evaporation. So with droughts and like high winds and high temperatures, it makes it difficult for our resources to stay plentiful. So if we don't have as much resources as we do now, it will be difficult for us to survive. And another claim is that global warming is slowly depleting the ozone layer. The ozone layer is the protection barrier that prevents most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation from seeping into the Earth's stratosphere. The dynamics and thermodynamics of these modes. In an article that was stated about ozone layer, it says that the dynamics and thermodynamics of these modes are such that strong synergistic interactions between stratospheric ozone depletion and greenhouse warming are possible. These interactions may be responsible for the pronounced changes in tropospheric and stratospheric climate observed during the past few decades. So due to us emitting so much greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, it's causing the ozone to deplete itself because we're putting way more out than we're actually putting in, which is very difficult. We're kind of disrupting the whole process since it usually does it itself, and it just makes it more difficult for it to get rid of. So, yeah. And I think, is that it?
Well, you have 17 more seconds.
Okay. So, since it's depleting the ozone layer, it's causing it to disrupt from the Antarctic, from the bottom of the ocean. Well, not the bottom of the ocean, but the bottom with like the ice, causing it to melt, causing the sea levels to rise up, which makes it difficult for us to,
What's that?
Can I check my outline?
Sure.
Can we write on this paper?
Yes, you may.
I think I gave whoever has the peer evaluation to my bibliography.
All right. Well, it's all, oh, wait. No, not that.
The peer evaluation.
Does anybody have 2 bibliographies with the outline that you received tonight?
Well, whoever has mine, can I have the bibliography then for Emma?
There's no bibliography on this one.
All right.
All right.
I had a different one.
All right, Alexus, the proposition is relatively clear. It's pretty dramatic. There's no preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. You spend 2 minutes defining a variety of terms that some of which probably don't need much definition. They don't come up again, and I think they would probably be better explained in the context of the argument rather than having a separate definition. Like I said, there's no signposting of the supporting claims. You start presenting evidence. I appreciated the early evidence that you cited. You had sources that you presented, and you provided qualifications for that information. Some of the claims that are being presented, though, I'm not sure that the evidence that you presented is linked to the claims that you made for them. It seemed like you were making some inferences from data that is not quite in the data, and I think that that'll be something that the refutation speaker is going to discover when they look closely at the argument that you're presenting. Like I said, I thought you did a good job citing the sources for the most part, except at the very end. I got, one source citation is an article, and that's probably almost as vague as the internet. I think you need something a little bit more specific than that, but earlier you were doing a pretty good job. Like I said, if I was trying to figure out the organizational structure, I did occasionally pick up claims that you had. Global warming is exclusively the result of human activity. Global warming has a negative effect on humans, and depletion of the ozone layer is happening because of global warming. I guess guess those are the secondary claims, but they aren't signposted that way, and they're often being presented after the argument that you are giving us, which is a little bit backwards for an oral presentation. Maybe we could process this if we were reading an essay, but in a speech it needs to be a lot more direct from the beginning. All right, thank you.